Hello guys, welcome back to the series. This is your boy Divine, and we are getting a bit technical. So in the previous video we looked at the basics, what a website is, and the components and the factors that can make your website go live. And so in today's video we are diving into the structure of websites, and we are looking at HTML. That is that stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and it is the standard markup language used to create the structure of a web page. So HTML tells the browser how to display content by using elements or tags that define text, images, links, and other content. Yeah, so basically that is what HTML is, and we would want to dive right in and then start creating HTML files and then interact with them to see how they work out. So I am on Linux, and so I'll use my terminal here, and then I'll open my VS Code. Okay, so those who don't know what VS Code is simply Visual Studio Code. Okay, so Visual Studio Code is basically a text or code editor. What I mean by that is it is an application that has an interface and that allows you to type computer code. Okay, so I have opened Visual Studio Code from the directory from which I want to keep my HTML files. Okay, so if you are on Windows, you could just click the app to open it, then you go to files and then say new file. Okay, then I'll say index.html. And then okay, yeah, so it is giving me where exactly I want to place the file. Make sure you look through here to select your location. I'll say create file, and then it creates. So just like that, I have created an HTML file, but then this file is empty. It has nothing running in it, and so nothing should actually work when I try to load this in my browser. So in the definition I gave earlier, I spoke about HTML displaying content by using elements or tags. Okay, so the most important part of an HTML document is the root element, and it is written this way. So this the less than symbol, then you write HTML. So I have set Visual Studio Code to auto complete my code for me, but I won't do that. You might not have that. So once I am done, it has closed the tag for me. That's the root element for me. So anything that I write between this opening tag and this closing tag will be considered as an HTML syntax or an HTML file. So I'll open this. Then the other part of an HTML file is the head. So that one to use the less than sign, then you type head and you finish it off with the greater than sign. Okay, then I'll just enter that. So you can enter. There are a couple of things that can go into the head. Let's say in the head you can set a title. So let me say title. Now I'll use my auto complete so that I can get it done quickly. Then in my title I'll say my first website. No, I'll make it web page. We've not built a website yet. Okay, this is my first web page. Okay, then we move to the body. So just consider it like a human being. It has a head, it has a body. So let's move to the body. Same approach, I'll say body, and then in the body. Now we'll look at other elements. Let me just put something here. I'll say H1. I'll explain some of those things later. Say H1, and I'll say A. Okay, then let me say I want to add a p tag. I'll explain all these components later on. I am just giving you I'm just introducing you to the syntax, which is the root tag or root element, which is the opening and closing HTML tag. Then we have the head tag, then we have the body tag. Okay, so let me add one more element in the body tag. I'll say P, and I'll say this is how far how far I have come in web development. Okay. We just put a basic web page. Now we want to save this by using Control S, or maybe you could click on File and save or whatever. Now I'm going back to where I created. So this is the location I provided. So I could just say open with Google Chrome. Yay, hooray! Now as you can see, this is a valid web page. We just wrote a web page, and it says, hey, you are welcome to my first page. This is how far I have come in web development. So I think this is fun for somebody who hasn't written any code. Just wrote your first web page actually. Okay, so if you take a look at what is happening here, you realize that anything in the head doesn't display on our screen. Okay, you don't see it. When you go back to this page, you don't see the head here. It's not here. Okay, however, the title we entered in the head is here, my first web page. Okay, here, my first web page is in the head, and then the body, which focuses on the main content of the page, is what we get to see on the page. Okay, yeah, so this is the basic syntax. Like, this is how HTML documents are structured. Okay, so let's continue. So now let's dive more into the basic structure of HTML. Let's dive more into that. So Now there is something that should precede all this, and that is the document type. Like we are declaring what documents we are using. So every HTML document begins with a document type declaration, and that one is written with this. So I'll just take this off quickly. I'll bring it back when we need it. So it begins also with the less than, then now the exclamation mark, and then doc type, as you can see on the screen. Doc type. Okay. Document type. You get it. So document type. We just define the kind of document we are working with. Now we can add the other sections of the code. Okay. So we already spoke about the root element, the head, and then the body. Okay, so let's continue. Now we want to look at some essential HTML tags. Okay, as you can see, this is very basic. Let me refresh it. This is very basic. And if you take a look at this website, even though this is a complete page, as well as my first web page is also a complete page, you can see that this particular web page has a lot more components. Okay, so we are going to explore some of those basic components and then how we can put them together to make our web pages look more presentable. So let's go back to our code. Okay, so so we've already spoken about the document declaration tag. We've seen the root tag, which is the HTML. Then we've seen the head tag. Then we have seen the title tag. Then we have seen the body tag. Then we have seen an H1 tag. I've not spoken about this, even though it's been on your screen for quite some time. So H1 tag, it defines the heading with the largest possible font. And so we have a couple of heading tags. We have H1. So I'll just duplicate this tags. So copy this. We have from H1 through to H6. We have H2 here. Then remember the closing tag 2 should be an H2. Then we can have an H3. The closing one should be an H3. Then let's say H4 tag. The closing one. H6 tag. Okay, H6. Okay, then let's save this. Try to refresh my first web page. So if I should refresh this, now you see all 6 headings. So these are the various heading tags that we have. So with each one having the largest font, and then H6 having the smallest font. Okay, then let's continue. Now we can take a look at the P tag. P tag simply represents a paragraph. Okay, so it's a paragraph tag. Okay, then you can also have a link, hyperlink. We represent that with an A. Okay, then say A, and then href. The reference. So the reference, let's pick a real life page from here. Okay, let's pick this URL. Let's say shop. Take all of this, Control A to see places here. Okay, let's put it here. And see, so a link typically can point to an outside resource or an internal resource. So if I go to this page and then I click home, this is an internal link. Okay, it points me back to it is within my website. It doesn't take me anywhere else. If I click kitchen, I'll get this nice dining sets here. It's still on my website, but then I just grabbed a link from another website and then used it as a reference for this link. So let's name the link. Let's call it outside. Okay, and then let's try and save this and then test it out in our browser. So let me go back to my first page and refresh this. Okay, so you can see our outside link here. If I click it, it has brought me to exactly what I was searching here. So in home furniture, yeah, I'm right there. It has directed me to outdoors and gardens. Okay, that is because that was the link that I clicked. So outdoors and garden, yeah, it has sent me to that link. And because I don't have another page to redirect to, that's why I was trying to use an outside link. But then if you want an internal link, this is an example of an internal link. You go to shop, redirect, you go to office, you go to something like this. Okay, so I believe we are getting a grasp of it all. Then what else can we have a look at? Then we can say image tag. Okay, then the image tag also write it with IMGE and then you close it. Okay, so in the image tag, let's see, source. SRC, which stands for source. Then let's go into our browser and download an image. Let's say cute bunny. let's look very cute, but I need to put out there. Like this one. See. Okay. Let me just save it here. Yes, it's fine. So I'll save it on my desktop. Then I can go to that side. Just copy this, cut it, to paste. So I want to grab the name here. Let's save this and then try. Let's save this and reload our page. Okay, so as we are back here, as you can see now, we also have an example of an image here. So I'm just introducing. So as you can see that now the things we spoke about, that those basic tags and all of those, they are lining up perfectly. We can see them being demonstrated here. So let's continue. What else have we? Which are the tags? We can have more tags. Let's look at on ordered lists and then ordered lists. So a list is simply used to as it's self-descriptive. You just use it to list items, and so we have on ordered lists and then we have ordered lists. Okay, so let's have an example. We can have an ordered list, a UL tag, close it with another UL, and then in that UL then we have the list items, which are the LI tags. So LI, we have in that you can have oranges, okay, then we can have another LI. This on a straight line so that it lines out preferable for us in terms of discipline. Okay, so LI oranges, then you can say LI is another list item in the unordered list. You can say apples, and then the last one say LI in that okay. So this is our unordered list. Let's go back to my first page and then refresh. Let's scroll down. So you can see here we have oranges, apples, bananas. Okay. So now let's look at an example of ordered list. So we could do the same thing here. We are just repeating this, but instead of saying unordered list, say ordered list. Okay, which is OL. Save this. Let's save this. So let's refresh this. Okay, so you see the difference here. On ordered list doesn't come with numbers. It's just bulletins. But then because these are ordered lists, we have it listed 1, 2, and 3 to the order arrangement here. Yeah. So then let's also look at the break tag. Okay, let's see. Let's notice something here. So you can see that our outside link and then the cute bunny image are lined up together, but we want to leave some space in between them and even push it to the next line. So we can use a break tag over here. Let's put it in between the link and the break tag. So you use the tag here, and then let's save. Control save and refresh. Okay, so you can see that there is a break in the flow of the document. Okay, at first the sections were horizontal, and then by breaking it down, I could as well add another break. Let's say I am not impressed with the spacing, and I will add another break. Refresh this. So you can see the space. Now there is a break. Now there is more break. There's another break. So the space keeps increasing. Okay. So I could add one more. Look at the space between this. If I add another break here, you should even increase it more. Okay, so the space just keeps growing based on the number of breaks that you assign. Okay. Then the next thing, let's look at the horizontal or the horizontal line. So let's put a horizontal line between each section, like each of these things that we did. Okay, so I'll put it here. I'll put an HR here. I'll say HR. Sections. Now let's have a look at HTML attributes. So guys, as you can see, this is starting to look like the website, the basic website that this is. It's not too good, but it's starting to look good. Okay. So let's look at the HTML attributes. Okay, so let's talk about the IDs. Okay, now attributes provide additional information about elements. Okay, so they are placed within the opening tag, and typically come called the value. So that is how it is spelled. So something like this. So let's take the ID attributes, for instance. ID attributes need to identify an element on the page. So let's pick the ID attribute, for instance. We want to put it in the H1. Just say ID equal to double quotes, then what ID we can say H1 dash title. Okay. That is an ID. So anywhere, if you want to do advanced stuff by manipulating the elements of the various tags without actually changing them, we could use JavaScript to call this attributes that are assigned to the individual tags and then manipulate them from there. Then one other attribute we want to have a look at is the class attribute. So this groups elements for CSS style or JavaScript access. Okay, so we can add a class attribute by saying class class is equal to this items, so that we can just grab this class name and then to process to list items. We can remove all of these. So we have defined our class. Then we can also define styles, and these styles are used to add inline CSS. Okay, so I know we've not spoken about CSS yet, but then we are just looking at the attributes. So one of the attributes that we can have is the styles. Let's put a style here and say style, let's say color. What color do you want to use? Let's use blue. Let's use blue. Now let's refresh the page and then see what's happening with our text that have the style blue. Okay, so as you can see, the inline style has changed the color to blue. Okay, so there is one other thing we could highlight, and that is also called a title. Okay, so the title has two tip text that appears when you hover over an element. So let's say if I hover over this and I want to know what exactly it is, I could sneak in a title in the opening tag and then put a description there. So I'll just say title. I'll say this is a big now let's save this and then see what happens in my first web page. So refresh, and when I point at this, so you see my tooltip has been activated. It says this is a big blue heading. Okay, same as the image, I could add a title to the image. That's my image. So I could say title cute bunny. Clouds. Okay, and I save this, then try refreshing this. So if I point at this, it says cute bunny in the clouds. Okay, this is getting, I believe this is getting interesting for most of you that are new to web development. So one thing that I didn't really touch on is called comments. Okay, so let's look at commenting. And so you know, sometimes you are writing code and then you want to put in the main reason why you are writing it the way it is, or a note for the next person that comes to work on your project. You can decide to add comments. So for instance, comments begin with this, and then we still close it off with this. Yes, exactly. So let me take this off. So whatever you have as a comment should go in between this. Okay, so whatever you write in between this, though it is present in the HTML syntax, when the code is being compiled and then you get to this point, it skips it, it doesn't run this. So you can use it to save notes that you use as reference in the future. So let me put something here and say this is a comment. So let me save this and then come here. When I refresh, I look throughout my page, I don't see that there is nothing that says this is a comment, because this is not recognized as a line of code. I've declared that this is not a line of code, and so it doesn't recognize it as a line of code. Yeah, so just look at these basic examples, try to practice by yourself. Try, if you are a bit lost, go back to the video, play it back, watch completely, like try and then redo everything that I have done here. I think I've given vivid explanations and examples, and you can feel free to consult other materials if you are quite lost. And so I'll meet you in the other video where we'll talk about some intermediate HTML concepts. So look at details, to look at nested lists, look at HTML tables, then look at forms, and then inputs, and then form elements and all that. Those semantic tags like headers, footers, navbar, sections, articles, and all those. So there are pretty more exciting stuff up ahead, and so don't forget to like the video and then leave a comment for me. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.